Let's go to the hotline and bring in a driver that was in the thick of things Saturday in the Mission 200 at Watkins Glen International. We're speaking of Jesse Love of Richard Childress Racing. Jesse, top of the morning, and welcome back into TMD. How are we doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Having a good, nice, beautiful, pretty perfect morning here in Mooresville, so I'm having a good time.
Well, great. We appreciate the time. And Bagman is 100% right. You were in the mix there on Saturday. I know you came up a bit short there of winning the race. You've had some time to process it. What can you tell us about how things wound up there Saturday at the Glen, Jesse?
Yeah, well, you guys saw it, right? There's not a whole lot to explain other than, hey, I made a mistake and, had a moment inside the car that I, am grateful that I can kind of recall in my head, and because of that, I feel like I have the self-awareness to understand the mistake I made, and then also have the willpower to put the work in to make sure that these mistakes, obviously they might happen again down the road, but few and far between, and that I become better because of it. So, as frustrating as it was, I feel that as long as I can turn it into a moral victory for myself by making myself better because of it, that I'll be okay with it.
There's no doubt that Saturday was a learning opportunity. Walk us through the closing laps of that. We saw the one car coming, Connor Zilic rolling. You were leading. And when you took the white flag, we knew something was going to happen. We didn't know what. What was it like inside the race car, inside your helmet, knowing that you had somebody that was continuing to fill your mirrors there at the last lap?
Yeah, obviously you guys saw him coming, and I saw the same thing. I thought that obviously I was in good shape when he initially had that contact in the bus stop that messed up his splitter, and then obviously he kind of clearanced it, maybe with hitting a curb, I'm not really sure, but got his steering freed back up and started to get back closer to me, and I knew there were parts of the track he was better than me in. But quite honestly, I thought the bus stop was a place that I was, pretty good in. And then obviously we went through the bus stop, and he got, he made up a lot of time on the brakes, which, I'm still a little bit, I don't think confused is the right word, but, surprised that he made up that much time in the brake zone. And then, because he didn't give it back up on exit, I was so surprised how much he was able to gain, and then, still, not just lose half of it back on exit and kind of just maintain. So, yeah, I just went through the carousel and made sure I hit my best corner, and had to, just paint the line. If I got off of it at all, I would get really tight. So just hit my corner in the carousel, and then going into turn 10, tried to just not make any, big mistake, and didn't really get off the corner how I wanted to, which was kind of what I think started it all. Once I didn't get off the corner well, and, he kind of lunged forward on exit of turn 10 going into 11, I kind of had to make a decision in my head, and I felt that, trying to control my own destiny and not just make it easy for him to get to my bumper was the right decision. And maybe running, lane 2, and, I don't think he just drives by me and passes me on the bottom, but obviously once I lock up my right front, it was unreal how much it, kind of killed my corner. So yeah, I think obviously the locking of the right front, is kind of what did me in, but more importantly than that, like what started that, or like what put me in that position, I think was, just me maybe having a lapse of presence in the moment, thinking about what Connor is going to do the next corner and how that should impact me. And I think that in turn kind of broke my focus for just, call it a tenth of a second. And that kind of got me behind on my steering. So yeah, I think that I learned a lot from it. As much as it, hurt in the moment, I'm in a good spot with it now. And man, I feel like, I've put Connor in some of those situations, and he's come out better because of it. So I feel like I could, do the same.
How did you adapt to the course changes in terms of the tire packs and the course limits and track limits in turns 1 and 5 over the weekend, Jesse?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it didn't really matter to me. Honestly, it kind of helped me, in all honesty. Like, the tire packs in turn one. Turn one has been probably my worst corner in all of motorsports for the last 2 years. And I think it's because in my mind, I want to use all that runoff, and maybe it changes the way I look at it. But this weekend I showed up and obviously took turn one with a different avenue, and it felt really solid, and I felt that I had a good understanding of turn one. So I thought it helped me. And in the carousel, I thought that, again, it doesn't really change anything, right? Because at the end of the day, the fastest way around turn one and, carousel, I don't think, maybe not in qualifying, but in the race, I don't think it's, using all that runoff, right? So I think that, honestly, NASCAR kind of made it just easier for us to find the right line. But I think it's a little bit, honestly, and I'm close with a lot of people at NASCAR, right? So I'm not saying this, I think, to be upset with them or to, do anything like that. But I just think it's kind of unnecessary. I don't see the necessity in the tire packs in turn one and you're just kind of asking for some carnage. And to me, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense because it wasn't a bad TV product anyway.
Chatting with Jesse Love, who was able to finish runner-up Saturday at Watkins Glen International. Jesse, for some, road course racing is an acquired taste. You seem to have taken to it quite well, considering even though what you said about turn one there at the Glen. Is this something that has come natural to you? Is this something you've had to work at? Where are you with road course racing at this stage in your career?
Well, I appreciate it looks that way because it doesn't always feel that way. I don't really feel like it's been a natural thing for me. I grew up racing quarter midgets, and I've ran a couple legend car races here and there, maybe some Bandolero races, and then I got into an ARCA car when I was 15. That was my first real time I feel like doing legit road racing. I didn't grow up running go-karts and traveling to Europe and running TA2 races and things like that. So it's definitely a challenge for me. It doesn't necessarily come natural. I feel like for it to come natural for me, I would have to have done it a lot growing up, and that's been my cup of tea growing up, and it wasn't. So, yeah, I think I'm still flattered that you think it looks that way, but at the same time, I've put in a ton of work into the road course stuff because I really enjoy it, and I really want to be really good at it. And I look up to a lot of people that are really good on the road racing side of things. So whether it's running the races in Australia in the off season, or racing as much road course as I can, and being on the simulator, asking questions, and really sometimes overanalyzing it, I feel like it's helped me kind of close the gap. I don't really believe there's anything necessarily unfeasible when you look at Connor and SPG, but you have to be willing to put a lot of work into it. So I feel like trying to close that gap up as much as I can currently.
Well, you only have San Diego and Sonoma by July 1st. Road course racing is in the rearview mirror. This weekend, you're only turning left. If you're turning right this weekend, you got big problems at the Monster Mile. Tell us about your approach for Saturday there for the O'Reilly Auto Parts race coming up, Jesse.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Not too much to overthink at Dover, right? The differences obviously are, I think, going to be made with the fact that they're laying down all the resin. I have some good notes to look at from Nashville last year because they did this at Nashville, so I can kind of wrap my head around what to expect. But I love Dover. It's one of my. Sometimes I say it's my favorite racetrack. Sometimes I say I love it. Today I'll say it's one of my favorites. So, I'm looking forward to going there. I love the high banks. I love concrete. And I love the speed of it. So, it should be really fun. I've ran, I think, the first year I went there, I had the fastest lap of the race, and I ended up getting a right front tire flat under green, which was brutal. That was my first ever time going laps down under green and realizing what the lucky dog was. And then last year when we went back, I think I was the Oreo filling in the JRM sandwich all day. I just ran I think, third to fourth most of the day and was just racing against all the JRM cars. So hopefully I feel like, we've made our stuff a little bit better at Dover. I think that I've kind of figured out some stuff in my driving style that I can improve on this time around. I have like some stock kind of, a couple of habits at Dover that don't always work with the Xfinity car. So, I think I can make that better, and hopefully, I think all the pieces of the puzzle there for us at Dover, and we can, have a good shot to win this weekend.
The straightaways at Dover, they're so high, and then you fall into the banking, and then they call it the landing. You guys are right back on the hammer, and you're on back up onto the straightaways. What is more breathtaking, loose in or loose off at Dover?
Well, I'm kind of a weird person. I don't believe in loose in. So I guess I would say loose off, but I'm sure most people, the generic answer is going to be loose in. But how many times do you see somebody spin out on entry? It doesn't happen, right? So I don't necessarily think kind of that quote from Wolf of Wall Street where it's like fake or it's a fugazi or whatever. Houston it's not real.
Fugazi, yes, I understand.
That's a rabbit hole at the moon landing we want to go down. So.
I understand. All right. We've had drivers tell us it's only a mile, but the sensation of speed at Dover might be the greatest of any other racetrack. How do you feel about that? What is that like there racing at Dover?
Yeah, that's definitely fair. It, for sure feels faster the first time you go there, and then the second time is a little bit slower, and so on and so forth. But I still think when I go there, it's, super fun, and you're definitely up on the hammer. And I think it depends kind of how your car is driving, what the package is like. I think I'll always think that Dover is super fast. I can't imagine the sensation of speed in a Cup car around there right now. But the Xfinity car, once you get kind of later in the run, it starts to slow down a little bit. And it's kind of just technical and fun. But still, when you, fire off for qualifying, you're kind of by yourself, and it's almost like that eerie feeling. From the driver's seat, it always, definitely feels like I'm, hauling the mail right now.
Anything fun coming up before you get to Dover or next week leading into the big weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway?
Anything fun? I'm always having fun. Yeah. I don't know. I've been riding the bike more again now that it's kind of the weather's working with me and not against me. And, I feel like every day just, trying to wake up and get a little bit better at my craft, be a little bit better of a leader for my team, figure out what balls we can push downfield and get better with. So, I feel like I have so much fun doing what I'm doing every day. I don't really need many hobbies.
Well, now there are some whispers you may be doing a little Crown Vic racing a little later this summer at the Freedom Factory. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I guess I did say yes to that, unfortunately. I am looking forward to that. I had some interesting texts sent to me last night about some star drivers possibly racing. But I don't want to spoil anything, so I think it could be a pretty star-studded field. But I've never driven a Crown Vic, and we'll see how that goes.
Oh, pull those belts tight! You're gonna have fun with that. Yeah, it's going to be a blast at the Freedom Factory down in Florida with Cletus McFarland and his crew. Hey, appreciate you taking time to join us. Congratulations on what was a good run. Unfortunately, it was not a win, but still a good run for the number 2 Whelen car nonetheless. All the best this weekend at Dover and points forward, Jesse.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Jesse. See you.